She thought burning my home would end me, but 1 week later, she walked into my courtroom, not knowing I was the judge who'd decide her fate. What happened next shocked every soul in that room, and you won't believe how it ended. Stick around till the end, and don't forget to subscribe for more unbelievable real-life justice stories that will leave your jaw on the floor. The day my life went up in flames, quite literally, started with a knock on my door from the one person in the neighborhood everyone knew and feared, Karen Whitfield, the self-appointed dictator of our homeowners association. Karen was the kind of woman who made HOA meetings feel like military tribunals, who wrote citations if your grass was a quarter-inch too high, and who had once fined an elderly couple for having a wreath on their door too early, before Christmas. I had bought my property 3 years ago, well aware of the HOA rules, but also determined to live peacefully without bending to every petty whim of hers. That resolve quickly made me her personal target. The spark came when I refused to approve her mandatory landscaping plan that would have cost me $15,000 for plants I didn't even want. She threatened legal action. I laughed it off, and apparently, that laugh burned her deeper than I realized, because the next week, my entire home was reduced to ashes. It happened at 2:13 a.m. I woke to the sound of cracking wood and the choking smell of smoke, barely managing to grab my phone, wallet, and a family photo before running outside in my pajamas, coughing and disoriented, as the flames ate through everything I'd worked for. My neighbors gathered, whispering, some in shock, others suspiciously silent. Through the glow of the fire, I caught a glimpse of Karen standing across the street, arms folded, an almost smug curl at the edge of her lips before she turned and walked away. The firefighters fought for hours, but it was hopeless. By dawn, the only thing left standing was the twisted metal frame of my bed and the chimney, a charred skeleton of the life I'd built. The police were called, arson was suspected, and while no one was arrested immediately, I knew in my gut it was her. But here's the twist Karen didn't know: I'm not just a homeowner she could bully. I'm a federal judge, one who presides over serious criminal cases, including arson and property crimes. I never flaunt my position in personal disputes, but something in me clicked that night. This wasn't about a burned house anymore. It was about power, intimidation, and justice. The next few days were a blur of insurance calls, temporary lodging, and endless questioning by investigators. But on the 7th day, fate itself walked into my courtroom. I was scheduled to oversee a pre-trial hearing for a new defendant, a case unrelated to my home, or so I thought. I took my seat at the bench, adjusted my robe, and looked down at the case file. The clerk announced, "Defendant, Karen Whitfield." My eyes lifted slowly, and there she was, in an orange jumpsuit, wrists shackled, staring at me in utter disbelief. The courtroom gasped, even my bailiff stiffened. She had been arrested the night before, caught on a neighbor's doorbell camera pouring gasoline along the side of another house in the neighborhood. The investigators linked that footage to the same type of accelerant used on mine. The power dynamic flipped instantly. The woman who once tried to control me with HOA fines was now trembling in front of me, realizing that her fate rested in the hands of the man she had tried to destroy. I maintained my judicial composure, but inside, a storm of satisfaction and restraint battled. I recused myself from directly presiding over her criminal trial. Judicial ethics required it, but not before. Setting the conditions for her bail hearing. The prosecution argued she was a flight risk and a danger to the community. I agreed wholeheartedly and denied bail on the spot. Her face drained of color, her attorney stammered, the crowd murmured in disbelief. Word spread through the city like wildfire. The HOA tyrant had not only been exposed as an arsonist but had targeted the wrong man. Over the next months, the evidence mounted. Fuel receipts, her car caught on traffic cams near my home minutes before the fire, and testimony from another HOA board member she had threatened. By the time her trial came, I was seated in the public gallery, watching as the jury took less than 2 hours to return a guilty verdict on multiple counts of arson, attempted arson, and reckless endangerment. She was sentenced to 25 years without parole. But here's the final twist: during sentencing, her lawyer revealed she had burned my house not just out of spite, but because she believed it would scare me into moving, letting her buy my land cheaply to expand her own backyard for a grand pool project. The judge hearing the case called it the most arrogant and self-destructive plan he'd ever seen. As she was led away, Karen glanced back at me with eyes full of fury and humiliation. I simply stood, buttoned my coat, and walked out into the sunlight, already making plans to rebuild my home bigger and stronger on the same lot she'd wanted so badly. The new house went up the following year, triple the size, with a towering fence and a plaque at the front that read, "Some fires forge steel." Every time I passed the HOA clubhouse, now under new, sane leadership, I thought about how justice had a strange way of coming full circle. She burned my house to the ground thinking she'd win, but in the end, she only built my resolve higher than ever, and gave me the satisfaction of seeing the queen of the HOA fall from her throne straight into a prison cell. And that's why you should never underestimate who you're dealing with, because sometimes, the quiet neighbor you target is the very person who'll write the final chapter of your story, and slam it shut forever.